Moving right along, we'll enter into our second speech. Tonight, Lisa Hefner, forgive me, Lisa, will be speaking to us from the Competent Communicators Manual, project number 9, entitled Persuade with Power. Everyone has fears. We can allow them to debilitate us, or we can use fuel that pushes us forward. Lisa wants to encourage each of us to fears and turn them into fuel so that we can enjoy the journey of life and worry less about the destination. Her speech is entitled, No Regrets. This is a 5-minute speech. No regrets. Please help me in a warm welcome for Lisa Hefner.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, our honored guests this evening. How many of us have some sort of adventure that they would like to try in life, that they have yet to try? Come on, what would you like to try? Scuba diving. Scuba diving, great. Somebody from over here. Skydiving. Skydiving, all right. Thank you for those examples. And I'm sure everybody else has some other great examples that are just sitting in their minds day after day, waiting for you to go and do it. Yet why do we cheat ourselves by not going after these adventures and stepping outside of the box and challenging ourselves to find out who we are and what we are made of? Instead, we often find ourselves sitting comfortably in our daily lives while that longing gnaws and chews at us, waiting to be fed. Generally, that happens because our feelings are getting in the way. We create a Mount Everest obstacle in front of us because insecurities or maybe judgments clump up together and create this mountain of fear. And this mountain of fear can sometimes paralyze us. Or even if we start going up that mountain, we find ourselves stopping because we engage in self-defeating behaviors. So sometimes when that happens, we might wind up on our deathbed and saying the things we don't want to say. If I'd only, I wish I'd have. My only regret is. How many of you want to say, my only regret is when you're on your deathbed? I didn't think there'd be any takers on that one. I know I certainly don't want to take on that. So I want to get us motivated tonight and educate us to let that adventurous spirit out and to stop feeding that fear. So the first thing we need to do is to understand that there are 2 types of fears that we are dealing with. The first fear is a genuine fear. It's the real fear. It's the life-threatening fear, when you really need fear to be there for you, to protect you. That's legitimate fear. But that only actually happens maybe about 1% of your lifetime. The rest of your fears are actually imagined. You're literally playing Jedi mind tricks with yourself, conjuring up all these crazy scenarios of what if. Feelings, triggering the back brain to act on the fear. And guess what? Your brain doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know the difference. It only knows fear. So it's going to react the same way. And guess what? You have control over that. You have control of flipping on or off that switch, because it all lies in your own head and how you trigger. But you might need to know what are some of the symptoms. Pass that around.
Sure.
There are physical, behavioral, emotional, and cognitive symptoms of fear that you can begin to recognize and begin to take control of for yourself. And when you start to feel yourself getting into this fear space, there's something that I want everybody to try out. I want you to grab a hold of that fear in your chest. So everybody, put your hands right here. Grab a hold of that fear. Because have you ever noticed sometimes kind of where fear sits right in our chest? And on the count of 3, and there's no excuses here because nobody else is here, so you can't be embarrassed about this. I want you each to scream with conviction. And you're going to throw your hands out and throw this fear right out the door, right out into the universe, because you don't need it. Release me! Yes. Doesn't that feel empowering? Don't you get a sense of, wow, I just let that go. I just got rid of it. You just threw that fear right out of yourself. That's the first step to getting and making that next step. And after you've released yourself from some of the physical manifestations of fear, then you need to kind of work with the brain a little bit and start thinking about the positive aspects of the journey you're going to be on. When we get into this, it's about thinking about the journey itself. What can I gain? Because, unfortunately, 10 to 20% of what you do, you're probably going to flop down, make a few mistakes, not look very pretty while you're doing it. But guess what? 80 to 90% of what you do on this journey is going to benefit you and is going to be positive. So it's about redirecting your mind towards that positive portions of the journey. Thinking about things such as, I'm going to get new friendships, meet people I've never maybe would ever have thought of interacting with before by taking on this journey. Or you're just going to simply learn a whole new skill set that you never had before, that you can apply to other parts of your life. So each time that fear again starts trickling in and stopping you from going after these adventures or journeys that you long to go on, think, each time I face my fear, I gain strength, I gain courage, and I gain confidence in the doing. It's the doing that is the best part of the journey. And you, again, cheat yourself with that when you allow your fear to overcome you. And the great part that I love about doing is that you can keep doing, and keep doing, and keep doing, until you get to where you want to be. Are you going to prepare? No? We're going on air, great. There it is. So continue to do through that fear, focusing on the positive and focusing on releasing yourself from your fears. And as many of you expressed earlier, you don't want to be on your deathbeds wishing you'd had, or saying my only regret is. You want to be like Mavis Lera, who at age 83 said, life's journey is not to arrive at the grave safely in a well-preserved body, but rather to skid in sideways, totally worn out, chatting, holy shit, what a ride!